What's good, bro? So, I was just reading something and I had such a great, fantastic realization. It was almost like a eureka moment. I literally started laughing. And sometimes when you read something, it connects all the dots for you. And this is really what this did. So, I'm reading this book by Jim Rohn, 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness. And in the book, it's really like a transcript almost that's been edited into words. So if you listen to his seminars, you'll notice some of the quotes are in here, but some of it is new stuff to me. So as I'm reading it, he's talking about the miracle of personal development, and he talks about how change happens. How do we actually change? And it's such an interesting subject because change is usually gradual. There's very few times when somebody experiences like a cataclysmic change where they just put their foot down on the ground and 180 every single thing in their life. It's rare, but it does happen. But it happens less frequently than other forms of change. And the most normal form of change happens when we start to change our perceptions. We start to change how we look at life. So the thing that you have to realize is that all positive change in life begins with you changing your mental pictures, the things that you see in your head, the images that you play over and over and over in your head. Because if you have negative perceptions of people, if you think people are going to hurt you based on the mental pictures that you have, mental things that have happened to you in the past, and you hold on to it, well, your reality continues to move in that direction because it's what you believe. So here's what Jim Rohn said that just excited me. He said, most of us don't experience a huge cataclysmic transformation. No, for most of us, change comes as an evolutionary process of almost imperceptible changes. We just keep nudging ourselves in the right direction, forming 1 or 2 better habits here and there, until finally we realize we have turned around a major area of our life. And that's why this shit just excites me so much. Well, I'll tell you why. This idea of personal development is you start to slowly remove the bad habits that you used to do, replace them with good ones, and then you build on the good ones. Sow a thought, and you reap an act. Sow an act, and you reap a habit. Sow a habit, and you reap a character. Sow a character, and you reap a destiny. It's amazing what you can do. You start to sow better habits. You start to sow better thoughts first, and then you start to take better actions, and then those actions lead to habits, and then those habits lead to who you are. And now you're this totally different person that people couldn't even recognize 3 years ago. So for me, it really turned around. The first thing that I remembered, that I thought of when I listened to that quote, you know what it is? It was actually when I stopped drinking. And that was actually a sudden change that happened in my life. It was like this. I didn't even start to cut down. It's probably a story for another day, but I'll tell you a little bit. I was on probation, and even while I was on probation, I was still just doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. My PO tells me, like, look, you're missing drug tests. I was missing drug tests because, I didn't have a reliable ride. That's totally my fault. And when I would have work, I just didn't make the drug test a priority. The drug test was absolutely a priority. So there would be times where I'd miss it every once in a while. There would be times my drug test wouldn't come back clean. And I just got so many chances from my PO until one time they actually found alcohol. And it's interesting with alcohol because it's actually hard for them to catch it unless you've been drinking like maybe a day or 2 before. So I was drinking probably almost every day at that point. And I just remember that he's like, yo, they caught alcohol in your drug test, buddy. And I was like, He's like, you know what we're gonna do? He said, you have one chance. That's it. We are gonna give you a SCRAM device. You have to do this on top of your drug testing. Basically, you have to blow into this breathalyzer that's connected to some kind of like, it has service basically. So every single time you blow into it, it tells us exactly how much alcohol is in your system. You have to do it 3 times a day. There's no drinking here. You can't drink. And I remember he told me that, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I had a court date that basically they were just gonna approve this and then put it on my file. And I showed up to that court date in the morning. Bro, I was drunk. And I wasn't thinking, but all I knew was that he told me, if you fail this, my friend, you're going to jail. So I was like, can't fail this. Literally have no choice. And I had been taking some classes, and those classes were teaching us about unlearning the things that we had, these habits that we had. We would unlearn, kind of like unplug yourself from the old life you used to live and just realize like, look, you can enjoy life as it is. And so it was good because I kind of was able to remove some of that brainwashing that I had before, that I thought like, look, alcohol actually helps me, when in reality it's not even a crutch, it's actually a poison. I'll get to that in another video. But yeah, so he told me this, and he was like, this is it. You fail this, I can't say anything for you anymore. He told me he's tried his best, and that would be it. So I was like, okay, this guy, I can tell, is serious this time. If I fail this thing, then it's a wrap for me. So, what do you think I did? Well, I'm not recording this from behind bars, so I cold turkeyed from that day. It's literally what I did. That was one of the first good habits that I ever started to sow, which is that I don't drink. And it's just paid off in so many different ways. I realize that it does nothing for me. That's it. So I completely stopped drinking because I felt like I didn't have a choice. And that was like almost like a 180, but it was almost coming for me. And this is why I say, like, everything in your life is meant to make you a better person. You just have to look at it that way. Develop inverse paranoia. Look at the universe like it's conspiring in your favor, and it will be. This terrible situation that I had where I couldn't travel, I was on probation, I lost my license, all of it happened for me. The universe was making me a better person. And so recently, what I just connected it to is because I've been stopping, these bad habits for myself, creating better ones. I also stopped nicotine. Nicotine was one of the hardest things to quit. Alcohol was easier to quit than nicotine. Doesn't even make sense, but it's those things that they don't tell you. And I tried to quit nicotine probably for like a year. Yeah, it was actually a year. It was from the time I was at my old job is when I really decided, like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Until like about a year, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the right formula. And then one of my cousins, actually, Kevin, he put me onto the right path, and he kind of led me where to go. So I appreciated him for that. Appreciate you. So yeah, it's been a journey, but you start to realize that you've turned around your whole life in a certain area by taking these steps. And it's like I said before, you only have to get a little bit better every day. Set your goal for your 1%. How are you going to get 1% better? For me today, I'm going to get 1% better by recording 2 videos. It's 1% better than I did yesterday. I'm going to get 1% better by talking to 2 people. It's 1% better than I did yesterday. So focus on what you can do. Use your energy. There's a well of wealth inside of you. There's abundance inside of you. There's freedom within you. Take what's yours. Peace.